Hi there, this is Solitary Ronan from Solitary Ronan Films, and I thought I would give you another tour of my library for 2025, and I'll also point out my 4K collection. So I might as well start because it might take a wee while. Here's some 4Ks that I haven't actually filed yet. The cinematography, latest release of Bang the Drum Slowly, the John Hancock film, which is essentially the baseball version of Brian's song. Robert De Niro plays the terminal catcher and Michael Moriarty is his teammate. Everything's probably going to fall over. Got a 4K steelbook of Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, which sadly the audio is unlistenable to. It's a 7.1 surround audio, but there's a huge whine on the disc, but the steelbook's nice. I still haven't watched Benedetta, the Paul Verhoeven film, which is 4K. That'll have to go back to the backlog pile. Again, everything in this room is the library, not the backlog. The backlog's in a separate room. And then 2 of the 3 Russ Meyer films. We've got Vixen and Beneath the Valley of the Ultra Vixens. They have to be filed down in the Severn pile. So we'll go through Arrow first. As you can see, I do have quite a few Arrows, and there's the first 4K on Arrow, which is the bird with the crystal plumage, my favourite Argento. As you can see, I've also got the old windowed Blu-ray as well. And we'll just continue along. I didn't get the 4K of Candyman. Obviously, Arrow are kind of going through their back catalogue and replacing the Blu-rays with 4Ks, but they just give you the 4K. So in some instances, when I've got the 4K, I'm still keeping the Blu-ray as well. But I have Cronenberg's Crash, because you have to have as many Cronenbergs as possible in 4K. Keep them coming. Again, City of the Living Dead. I've got the old windowed Blu-ray. Again, I haven't upgraded on that one either. Again, Creepy's available in 4K, Cruising's available in 4K. Got the old windowed Dawn of the Dead, which actually cost me quite a lot because that was before the second sight 4K and Blu-ray of Dawn of the Dead. Again, I've got the old windowed Deep Red. Deranged just got a 4K from Vinegar Syndrome. So across the top is just various items. The Star Wars original trilogy on VHS, 9 Inch Nails, Closure on VHS, Samurai Banners with Toshiro Mifune, sorry for the glare. Again, you can only get that in VHS. And a lovely still from The Beast Must Die of Calvin Lockhart. Anyway, we'll go down to shelf 2. Now obviously I've got Dune on 4K. Still the best version of Dune despite its flaws. Exorcist 3, I'll show you my 4K of that by another company. That's the Fassbinder boxes. Still haven't watched them, but the boxes are in the collection. The actual discs are still in the backlog pile. The Gamera sets, and one of the latest 4Ks, Kim Ji-woon's 4K lovely box set of The Good, the Bad and the Weird, which I do have a soft spot for, even though it does have its flaws. But It's a lot of fun. Again, Heathers is available in 4K, but I'm just sticking with the Blu-ray. From Arrow, Hellraiser. I have the 4K Chatter set. I did have the Pinhead version as well, but I did get rid of that. Hugo, you could argue Scorsese's best film of the 21st century. Again, this is a region A, I believe. But again, you can get that in 4K from Arrow, but I've just got the Blu-ray. Ju-On, The Curse, the first two are, sorry, the first one is 4K and the rest are Blu-ray. That's a fun set. Again, Killer Clowns, I think that's 4K now. Not sure it's Arrow 4K, but it's 4K. King of New York by Ferrera, the 4K, but I've kept the Blu-ray just because it's got a nice slip cover. I had to get the Long Good Friday 4K because I do love that film, but again, I've just kept the Blu-ray. Naked Lunch 4K. Again, it's Cronenberg, so it's going to go 4K. Again, Nightbreed, I haven't bothered with the 4K. What else do we have? Rings in 4K from Arrow. Haven't bothered upgrading. Robocops in 4K from Arrow. But this is just the Blu-ray set. I'm not bothered about getting 4K of Robocop. Shaw Brothers 1 and 2. Still haven't picked up 3. Silent Running on 4K. I do have another version of that just on Blu-ray, which I'm keeping. Society, which is one of the best packages Arrow ever did. That's lovely packaging. I'll just swing along here. Wonderful Region A. Copy of Tin Star, one of my favourite westerns, great cover. Tremors in 4K. I've also got another 4K of Tremors. What a wonderful film, template film. I've never actually seen Trick or Treat, but for some reason I just decided to get the 4K, and it is a lovely little film. Didn't actually realise Brian Cox was in it. True Romance, again, just kept the Blu-ray, no need to upgrade to 4K. One of my favourite box sets that I have, the Tsukamoto. This is the cheaper one without the booklet, but it has the films and that's the main thing. Again, Videodrome, 4K, it's Cronenberg. What are you going to do? Again, I don't have the 4K of Waterworld, that's absolutely fine, just as a Blu-ray. And that's my Arrow collection. Again, I do have a bunch of Arrow in my backlog. Now we go into Arrow Academy. Sadly missed. No 4Ks in this, obviously. You get the Borowitz collection. You get the Cinema of Conflict. Of course, the amazing Arrow Academy version of Decalogue, which is an absolute stonker. And down here we have the amazing Arrow Academy of the Human Condition, which again is an absolute stonker. Yeah, no 4Ks in the Arrow Academy, but that's alright. The 3 Woody Allen box sets. Yes, Bulgarian Troglodyte. I haven't watched them, that's just the box. The actual discs are in the backlog still. Now this is a wee random pile. I got these two Aki Kaurismäki. So this is Drifting Clouds and The Man Without a Past. It's quite a nice set. And then we have 3 Flicker Alley, Lost World. Again, I would get more Flicker Alley, but they are really expensive. The Man Who Laughs, which I picked up before Eureka released it. Classic Conrad Veidt. And Repeat Performance, a wonderful little noir, which I was turned on to by Roger Kirby, friend of the channel. This is the first one in Manu Films, one of Radiancy's partners. This is Man Marked for Death 20 years later, which is fantastic. One Chameleon title, which is Johnny Toe's Breaking News, which is wonderful. 3 MVD Rewind that look like videotapes. The British classic Krull. Neighbours with John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd. And Silent Rage with Chuck Norris. And Who's Harry Crumb with John Candy. Oh, this is going to get awkward. If you hear any creaking and breaking, it's just all my joints. Again, this is Eureka's random section, some horror, some kung fu, various things. Then there's some Twilight Time, a little pile of Mubi, and a little pile of Anti-Worlds, which of course has one of my favourite films of all time, Dogs Don't Wear Pants. Then we have Severn, which has All Our Haunts Be Ours, Volume 1, which is excellent. I'm really going to have to get Volume 2. The 2 Christopher Lee box sets. Dance Macabre, Volume 1. One day I hope to get all 3. Santa Sangre in 4K, the box set. And Super Vixens by Russ Meyer. And again, 2 more are coming. Then down the bottom, we've got some random Asian titles. A lovely little edition of Kamikaze Girls. The 2 Bud Blue releases. Some random releases of the others. Hannah Bai. Angel Heart. Then we get some Plain Archive. I think Old Boy was the first Plain Archive I got. That's the big Jim Jarmusch Patterson steelbook. And then Vinegar Syndrome partner labels. So we do have the Keep 4K. Yes, I bought the big stupid edition, of course. Then we have Existenz, another Cronenberg 4K. Then we have Lady Reporter, because they do have some Cynthia Rothrock, which is wonderful, including Undefeatable on 4K, which is a hilariously bad film, but Cynthia Rothrock. Phase 4, who asked for Phase 4 in 4K, but we got it anyway. Southern Comfort in 4K, Walter Hill, which is fantastic. And then that's some more little Vinegar Syndrome titles. We'll start up here on this wall. So this is my Nova Media selection. And then coming down here is Fun City. Again, another Vinegar Syndrome partner label. And then Canny, which is probably my favourite Vinegar Syndrome partner label now that Deaf Crocodiles, they're on their own. And then we've got Canadian International Pictures, which is probably my second favourite. And they have a 4K of East End Hustle, which is a good little film, and their latest release is also going to be 4K, a documentary about prostitutes. And then we have BFI, the Bergman sets, even though I have the Bergman box. Alan Clark, one of the best box sets I have in the collection. And obviously they're going to be releasing more Kurosawa in 4K, which is great. I did pick up obviously high and low, the Kiru, the Derek Jarman sets, which are ridiculously expensive. Then coming along here, hopefully we get more breaths on at some point for BFI. And obviously the 7 Samurai in 4K, 7 Seal in 4K, Stray Dog, which I was ecstatic about finally getting a Blu-ray of. You could argue the first Kurosawa masterpiece. You could argue that with Drunken Angel, of course. Wages of Fear in 4K. A perfect example of characters that you don't necessarily root for, but you're absolutely fascinated by. Yes, I stupidly did get Watership Down. This is just the Blu-ray special edition rather than the 4K. I can't even get through it, but never mind. And over here, this is the second sight shelf. So Bittersweet Life in 4K, Changeling in 4K, Cronenberg in 4K, Crimes of the Future, Dog Soldiers in 4K, High Tension or Hot Tension or Switchblade Romance in 4K. Yes, I get the Big Fat Hitcher. Martin on 4K, which is one of the great releases ever. Mean Streets in 4K. Picnic at Hanging Rock on the 4K Doorstop edition. Possessor on 4K, which I really enjoyed. And the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is an absolutely beautiful edition with that lovely big book. And Robert Eggers' The Witch on 4K. And then there's some standard Blu-rays. And then there's a little bit of Studio Canal classics. Cult classics, sorry. Blazing Magnum is hilarious. Horrors of Black Museum is a nice little film. And Soldier Blue is fantastic. And Kill Them All and Come Back Alone is a wonderful spaghetti western. And then down here we just have general Blu-rays that I haven't just put away in sleeves, generally because they're associated with a director or whatever. So that's just kind of general Blu-rays down there. And then down the bottom it's Artificial Eye. I do have a bunch in the backlog. There's the 4K Double Life of Enake and the 4K of Bong Joon-ho's Memories of Murder, and then the 4K of 3 colours, which obviously I had to get. I had to. So on this wall we have Umbrella. So yes, I got the 4K of Caligula with about 10 different cuts. Les Yeux Son Visage, of course, the Li Chang Dong box, which is wonderful. Tisis, the wonderful Spanish snuff film. Time Crimes, that's just a Blu-ray, but so glad that I got a Blu-ray release finally. It's another Spanish underrated film. And Triangle, this is just Blu-ray, but I do have a soft spot for Christopher Smith's Triangle. Then we have Raro, some just Raro and some released through Radiance. And then down here we have good old Third Window. And I'll just bring out Kamikaze Girls again. You can't show off Kamikaze Girls enough. And then this was one of the releases of last year. Vito finally getting a Blu-ray in Region B, Tsukamoto's masterwork, or one of his masterworks. Down here we have the saucy section with Russ Meyer, some Andy Sidaris classics. And next to Andy Sidaris and Russ Meyer, of course, Buñuel and Melville. What else would you put next to Russ Meyer and Andy Sidaris? And then my Thing collection, I have got rid of a couple of them, but this is a 4K steelbook. That's a 4K steelbook. That's a 4K, and that's a 4K Titans of Cult steelbook, of course. And then we get Eureka Masters of Cinema, the 4K of Touch of Evil, that's Showa, 4K of Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, and that's all the 4Ks. Then we've got some Eureka DVDs. And then we've got Kino Lorber. I was planning to get all the film noir sets, but I don't think I will. They're up at probably about 26 by now. So this is my Kino Lorber. So got Bob Le Flambeur by Melville in 4K. We have Le Doulos by Melville, strangely enough. And we've got another Cronenberg in 4K, Eastern Promises, which is the underrated partner of History of Violence, but I prefer Eastern Promises, to be honest. Then A Fistful of Dollars 4K. Obviously Arrow have just announced the Dollar Trilogy in 4K, but I'm quite happy with it. Kino Lorber, a few dollars more on 4K. Good, the Bad and the Ugly in 4K. In the Heat of the Night on 4K, plus the other two films on Blu-ray, which was quite good. Killer's Kiss on 4K by Kubrick. Nostalgia on 4K by Tarkovsky. Past the Glory on 4K by Kubrick. Taking a Pelham 123 on 4K. One of my favourite films of all time. I was kind of concerned about, is it going to look that good? But it actually looks really good. 12 Angry Men on 4K, which doesn't look that great. It's not really that much of an upgrade over Blu-ray, I don't think. And then some more not black-spined Kino Lorbers, including some Lanthimos, and then some Network, and then those French Kurosawa Blu-rays and media books, which are lovely. Then whisking up here, my imprint collection. Again, I would buy more if they weren't quite a little expensive. And the Walter Hill set has The Driver on 4K, randomly. So that's my imprint. And then we have Deaf Crocodile, which I am complete on. Again, they went to these box editions, which are beautiful, but obviously a bit more expensive. So Trapped Ashes, which is a portmanteau film actually written by Dennis Bartok, one of the co-founders of Deaf Crocodile. It's okay, but that's on 4K. And Felidae, the wonderful German animated film about cat murders, is also in 4K. And then these are my random Japanese DVDs that aren't quite, well, some of them are official and some of them aren't quite as official. But these two by Masamura, the wife of Sheshu Hanoka, is an absolute masterpiece. And as is Suzuki's wife with Iwakao Yakao. Absolutely brilliant. As is Gosha's The Wolves with Nakadai, but I could go on. Yeah, that's kind of unofficial DVDs. And then second run, they just don't get talked enough. I've still got a lot of their DVDs in the backlog. I have got rid of some of them because rarely they don't agree with me, but most of them absolutely do. I have to apologise for the camera work. The usual camera person is away. This is my Little Hammer collection. Well, it's a collection of Blu-rays, it's not actually Little Hammers. And this is the 4K Mad Max Steelbooks on 4K, the Monsterverse on 4K because I got them cheap. And then Steelbooks, but then the Blade Runner 4K Titans of Cult, Coraline 4K twice, don't ask why. The Temple of Doom on 4K, yep. Kubo and the Two Springs, that's a different film. The Two Strings on 4K, Naked Gun with its line change. So keep the Blu-ray, folks, because there's a different line in the 4K version. Reservoir Dogs, 7 on 4K, which looks really nice, Soul on 4K, Tremors 4K Steelbook, and of course Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and then my normal Steelbooks, starting with Agira Wrath of God, even though that has a 4K with Shout Factory, which I'll have to pick up because it's one of my favourite Herzogs. And then we have just your random normal Steelbooks. All the way to Zootropolis. And then we have Indicator, which I'm no longer complete in Indicator. I still generally buy or pre-order them all apart from the John Wayne ones. But I have moved on from some of them, so I'm not complete. Apologies, Indicator. But one has to make a decision every now and again. There's a little dog. Bruiser by Romero, which did have a 4K, but I just picked up the Blu-ray. Oh, there's a deaf crocodile. Free advertising there. And then we get into the noir box sets, which are lovely. The Mexican Macabro set, which is one of the best box sets of all time. And then we have the wonderful Jean Roland 4Ks with the wonderful artwork. It's the Rape of the Vampire, the Nude Vampire, Shiver of the Vampires, Requiem for the Vampires, the Demoniacs, Lips of Blood, Fascination, Night of the Hunted, the Escapees, 2 Orphan Vampires, and then not a Roland 4K, but Black Magic rights. Patrick and Snapshot are available in 4K, but I just got the Blu-rays because I've got an umbrella of Patrick, and Snapshot isn't that great. Obviously more 4Ks to come from Indicator. And then we have the 101 Black Label. Again, I was complete up to a point, but got rid of them. Because again, at some point you just have to. But then, lovely 4K set of Alligator and Alligator 2. Alligator 2, the mutation is just Blu-ray, but that's a lovely box. Then Onslaught D on 4K. Villeneuve's true masterpiece. The Sword and the Sorcerer 80s cheese on 4K, back to the VHS days, and the Stone Tape, which was brilliant. That's a Jess Franco 8 film DVD box set, dear oh dear. And then we've got some animation. Kung Fu Panda 1 to 4, How to Train a Dragon 1 to 3, 2 Puss in Boots films. I think the second Puss in Boots is wonderful. Shrek 1 to 4. Then we have some French Blu-rays, including an edition of Matewan. Then I have my standard 4Ks, if you like. Just recently picked up Blazing Saddles. It's just so quotable, because Solitary Ronin is just a pawn of life. Again, another 4K, Crimes of the Future, another edition of that. The Flash Gordon 4K, which is one of the best 4Ks you'll ever see. The John Carpenter Studio Canal 4Ks, which are gorgeous. The Kubrick 4K set, which I got for about half price because the cardboard's ripped. Once Upon a Time in the West, but also Once Upon a Time in the West, the Italian or German 4K cult version. I think it's actually Italian, which looks slightly better than the Paramount one. Predator, Seven Samurai, Japanese with no English subtitles, but what the heck. And then the Universal sets, plus the recent Cronenberg Spider, which is so underrated, on 4K from France. Heads up to Nazarene Prod, pointed that one out. And there's my Criterion, the clip sets, Obviously Criterion would get into the 4K game a little later. This is my version of the Criterion closet, not quite as impressive. Yeah, where's the 4K Age of Innocence? But then it's apt, the first 4K I have in the Criterion is of Blue Velvet. Then Devil in a Blue Dress, Carl Franklin's masterpiece from the 90s in 4K. After Hours, really underrated Scorsese, 4K. One False Move, Carl Franklin's other 90s masterpiece with Bill Paxton. Pinocchio, which I really liked on 4K. Obviously the 4K of Lone Star. Obviously the 4K of I Am Cuba. For some reason I got the 4K of Happiness. It doesn't really need a 4K. It comes with a Blu-ray as well. One of the more, what's the word, opinion split film in the Criterion Collection perhaps. And the recent, I had to the Winchester 73. I do love that film. So that's in 4K. And then we have the best label of the last 2 years probably, Radiance. Again, I'm not Radiance complete. I have moved on from a few, and there's a few that I haven't actually pre-ordered, but on the most part, I do love a good bit of Radiance. Because going for Italian, Japanese, I do think there's better Japanese directors they could focus on, but again, it's all about rights, and we're just being greedy at this point. It's hard to believe they've only been going for a couple of years, but their output has been wonderful. I mean, their box sets are absolutely beautiful. I was going to do a Radiance backlog complete, which I might still do. Go in some of the titles a little bit deeper. And then we have a wee Kim Ki-duk section. Don't ask me why, but I just had a random Kim Ki-duk section from Korea. And then we've got Studio Canal, World Cinema, so The Discreet Charm of Bourgeoisie is in 4K, and Ran is in 4K. And then I have Studio Canal Vintage. There's Dirk Bogart. Lady Killers are 4K. There is a 4K of Kind Hearts and Cornets, but I'm not really going to bother. Peeping Tom on 4K after that. The Third Man Ridiculous Music Box version. But because that release is a 4K restoration, you don't actually need the 4K, to be honest. And then The Three Musketeers, Richard Lester, and strangely enough, The Four Musketeers by Richard Lester on 4K. And then we have some Warner Archive. It's good to see more Warner Archive getting Region B releases. And then I've just got a random section of DVDs that I haven't put away because of the director, for example. So there's lots of sales and some Volante, Spy in Black, the sales corner there. Yeah, that I haven't just put away into folders. And then finally we have this wall, the Bergman set. This is Eyes Without a Face, lovely French edition. Godzilla's back, and the Lawrence of Arabia Blu-ray set with a frame of film. And then we've got Shameless, no 4Ks there. 88 Slasher, 88 Standard, but we do have the recent 4K of From Beyond, which looks wonderful. We've got Mate One, Miami Vice, and then we start with those old British horror films, which are wonderful if you're of a certain age. Then 88 Asia. The Gaira's Guts trilogy was actually pretty disappointing, if I'm being honest. The Inspector Wears Skirts 1 to 4, or essentially the Hong Kong Police Academy films. Line of Duty 1 to 4, which is a lovely set. Tiger Cage 1 to 3, then some Category 3 films. Then 101 Red Label. That was one of my releases of last year. Pete Walker set, it's absolutely wonderful. Then 88 Films Italian, which again I've cut down a little bit on what I had. And then Deck Analog, then Premiere Collection from HMV. A few of them. Some have tons of extras, some have bare bones. But that's okay. And then we get into Scream Factory. So there's the 4K of Alligator that I had before. There's the 4K of The Exorcist 3. I've got a Blu-ray and, well, 2 Blu-rays and a 4K. The Fly box set, Manhunter. And then down here, it's the Omen set, Sword and the Sorcerer in 4K, They Live in 4K, and then we get to the Shout Factory, there's the Sonny Chiba sets, Clue on 4K, didn't actually pull that one out, but that's a 4K of Clue, yep, I've got problems. Mondo Macabre, Blue Underground, Olive Films, even though Baby It's You is getting released from Fun City, some Olive Films, and then ending with the 2 Hal Hartley box sets. So that's just a little tour of my film room. So I did get ceiling to floor shelves, and as you can see, well, as I said, my backlog's not in this, so that's a pile of teddy bears. The cats will have ravaged them by the time I do another video. But yeah, I need to somehow get my backlog in here as well. We'll see, I might have to shelf the ceiling. But yeah, thanks very much for watching. Please apologise. Well, I'll apologise, you don't have to apologise. I'll apologise for the shaky cam. It's like watching a Liam Neeson film. But on that bombshell, I'll leave you with the Fu Manchu cycle. Utterly horrible. And I will say farewell.